Right, so this is going to be a little bit confusing because, yes, I did actually watch the other Max0r video for Genshin Impact, like, what, a week ago? 2 weeks ago? I never watched the original one, and apparently this one's kind of funny in the sense that you get to hear Max0r's old microphone that had the quality of a potato. So, you know what? Let's just enjoy. Let's enjoy this.
I mean,
Max0r content is Max0r content, but at the very least, we get to enjoy the comparison of how his content has evolved. Yeah?
Has sucked away my soul and killed my dog. I first began playing
really
Genshin
sounds
Impact
so
because of all
different.
the cute women, then experienced apotheosis and a philosophical enlightenment through the death of my own ego. I love Genshin Impact, but this game will have an impact on your social life, and even
an
after you
impact
stop
on my
playing,
arousal.
you will not recover. To this day, it has left me in a perpetual state of sophisticated molding, and I recommend it for
I find
all
it
the wrong
impossible to
reasons.
believe that
In
people
this
who get
game,
into
you
Genshin
play as
don't then
John
become
Impact,
deep-
an extra-dimensional
deep
being whose
enjoyers
brother was
of
eaten
hentai
by
afterwards.
Megablocks and is forced to navigate Avatar, the Last Airbender for weeaboos. Powered by its simple chemistry system in which characters electrocute, burn, and throw rocks at each other. One of those is much less cool, but it, like Australopithecus, was my primary source of damage. Now trapped in the
That's a
land
lot
of
of big
gotcha
words used
hell,
there,
our
Max0r.
protagonist must find a way to
I
save
find it
our
insulting
siblings
that
by
you think
fighting
I'm
geometry,
literate.
the indigenous inhabitants of Twitter, space midgets, and the ice KGB. As
You
well,
can't
we
just
are here
use
to
the
explore,
M-word. You know, okay,
solve
Max0r's
puzzles,
probably
play,
the only person who
prop
gets a pass
hunt,
on that.
cook, get arrested for looking
kind of
at
expect him to be
Zhongling
a
too
bit
much, get sentenced to
salty.
10 years, and emerge from prison a devout Buddhist. This video is going to be about my experience playing this interesting game and how to objectively have the most fun with it. It's a very bad sign when most people who play the game don't recommend.
Listen, if you want to have fun in Genshin, pull out your credit card and get that easy dopamine hit from getting 1,000,000 wishes, and then post a YouTube video about you getting a 5-star Mona and bask in the glory of everyone calling you cringe.
It, but I do. Although I am slightly a dingus, so I don't recommend you take my opinion as fact, but as entertainment.
Yo,
so whether you're
me
new
and
to the
Max0r,
strange,
a dingus?
otherworldly
You
Chinese
just like
software
me,
or a
for
Genshin
real,
pro,
yo.
please allow me to tell you the tale of how this left a Genshin impact into my frontal lobe. Here's a fun tip that most Genshin players don't know.
Where?
The age of consent is 18 years old. Let's begin with what's maximally important. Not the gameplay, not the story, nor anything you would typically associate
Not
with a
the
video
sheer
game.
copious
The
amounts of rules
single
that he
most
thought made
important
about it.
thing in this game is rolling dice to gain attractive people
See?
and then parading them around like a child on TLC. I do not exaggerate when I say
It's like
this is
Warframe,
probably
but
what
10 times more
attracted most
expensive.
people to this game. If you want an example, Lisa is a character who continually refers to
Lisa! Literally the entire reason I started playing Genshin. Hara hara.
herself as One-sama and sounds like she is at all times on the verge of sex. I received her after completing a
swear to
quest
God.
and then decided
What
that I
is
would
with the
use
Japanese
Lisa
voice actors
exclusively to
literally
do
sounding
rock
like they're
climbing. That
having an
way, I could
orgasm every time
repeatedly
they say
hear her
something.
oddly enthusiastic moaning for the next 10 hours of
See?
gameplay. I literally installed this game after downloading 60 images of
mean,
Ganyu,
I do love
since
moaning
the
with
official
every
lore of the
movement
game
of my body,
specifies
but
that
still.
she killed a monster after being eaten by it because her ass was so big it blocked his trachea and suffocated him to death. However, there is a catch. I don't have Ganyu,
You mean
and
that's-
I never
I mean,
will.
that's just the
You have a
Thursday.
random chance to get characters, and that chance isn't high, 5.1% to be exact, and that's getting anyone. So if you want a particular character,
no
get fucked.
monster
You
can damn well
could have
eat
your
me.
very first
These
role be a
thighs are too
high-level
thick.
DPS character that carries you through the game with chimpanzee martial arts, or you could roll 3 useless small boys in a row and then desire death.
Hey, that happened to
God,
me.
God damn it. And while I'm writing about bad things that could be deal breakers, the anti-cheat for this game is very strong and has ring 0 permissions on your kernel. This means that it can read and write
yet the game
memory
still
at any
somehow has a
location in
hacking
your
problem.
computer without seg faulting. I, however, am not afraid, since if Xi Jinping does harvest my computer's data, all he will find is 50 pages of Waluigi hentai. It's your loss. And yes, it does turn off when the game isn't running. So this review is going to include a guide on how to have fun, because like real life, lusting after women causes suicidal depression. Step 1. Play as optimally as you want.
I feel
Do
like
not
this is
try to
awfully
min-max
reminiscent
shit, because
of the
our Jesus will
anime
snap
thing
your
we just
fucking
watched
neck.
of how to
Do
become a
whatever is
successful
fun
VTuber.
with whatever
Well,
you
yes,
have.
I am a
In my
parasocial
case, I
motherfucker that
decided
has
that
way
I
more
would roleplay
attention
as
and
a
being
violent
addicted to
misandrist and only play
fawning
as
over
women out
anime
of
waifus
principle.
and
Any
forming
men that
actual
I
meaningful
roll would be
relationships
locked
in
at
real
level
life.
1 and made useful in the coal mines. It is simply not worth it for me to engage in combat if I cannot also yank it. The central point of the characters is that
If you play in a game about anime waifus and you're not, at least at some point, thinking about the Rule 34 connotated around them, are you really doing the job properly? I mean, seriously. How many people out there have ended up watching an anime, played an anime game, or any kind of video game, and then at some point during the process of playing that game, you think to yourself, I wonder what Rule 34 there is of this. I don't know, maybe you pick up Persona or something, and you're like, damn, that cat be looking thick.
Baby, you can kiss my ass.
Verily's True gifted a tier 1 sub to Cumin_forceful. They have given 136 gift subs in the channel.
Yeah, basically the average Overwatch enjoyer, absolutely. Thank you
They
for
are
giving sub,
potential
Vera
wives, and I am absolutely, definitely, 1000% secure in my masculinity. Playing the game optimally in this case would mean making the game boring and staring at man ass, so fuck it. If, for instance, I had wanted a particular, legally questionable female to be my digital puppet, the chance of me
out of all
receiving
the
that
things
would
in
be
Genshin I'm really
0.3%, which
dubious
is where
about
this
is the
image
how
comes
much of a
from. Take what
reliance
you
on
can get with
lolly
the roles.
characters
Don't
they
be
have.
mad, exercise patience
Like,
and
sure, they're
control,
cute as
and you
fuck,
will have a
but
lot more
why?
fun. I definitely
Why
have
in a
not sold
game
my
where
house
you've
to
very
get big
evidently
titty
made it
pirate
for waifu
mommy.
material
But
that you put
Max0r, I hear
lolly?
your thoughts. Why are you displaying a single image of a regular crab on my screen? And also, what is the world of Genshin Impact and why are we here? That is a
And
great
can we
question,
fight it?
James. Because before we get into the exploration and the combat, we must first understand the context with which I run my beauty pageant. And like every game made by Asian people on my channel, the lore is some Hyperborean bullshit. So let's say rule number 2 of
Once
enjoying
again,
the game
only
is
Max0r
not
can
caring
get away
about
with being
bits,
that
just like
racy
90% of the
in a
player
YouTube
base.
video. Question, do we think that Max0r videos are monetized? Surely they can't be. With the amount of, like, questionable content, they can't be monetized, surely. It would be a very interesting thing to see if they were or not.
The world of Teyvat is ruled collectively by 7 gods who govern the 7 elements. Except the nature
I mean, I
god.
suppose
He's
if
special.
Max0r
This
literally
came
doesn't
about
care about
because
monetization, it's
2,800
why he
years
gets
ago,
away
there were
with
like
making...
80 gods or
But then
something.
again, if it wasn't
everything
monetized, it
changed
would also
with the
get,
Fire Nation Nintendo,
de-
but actually 7 seals opened up
delisted
in
as well,
heaven,
like, it
so
wouldn't be put
literally
into your
every god
timeline.
fought over their power to the death. The
Like, the
result
fact that it
was the
gets
7
suggested
gods
so
of
heavily
each
must
element
mean
we
that it
see
is
today,
monetized.
each ruling over their own
Oh, that's
nation
so
in their
weird.
own fucked up ways. Every once in a while, these delusional bastards will just give random people superpowers, like how the electricity god
not
just
fair.
gave a girl with a mental disorder a talking bird. This also includes small children who could very
I guess
possibly
the
kill
gods in this
themselves
world
for
have a
some
sense of
reason.
humor.
Now, the world you see in game takes place in 2 nations or 3 if you're from the future. The first is Mondstadt, a lawless anarcho-capitalist
Hey, now it's
commune in
4.
New Hampshire, which has no formal
Man,
governance
how
of
old
any
is this
kind.
video? Hold up. Damn! A year? Max0r grew a lot in a year. Sheesh.
They instead rely institutionally on vigilante justice, including a hot Batman. As a result, an entire territory of the
Anime
nation
Batman.
is completely overrun with wolves. No one has the systemic authority to stop people from exercising their rights and liberties to feed the wolves' babies. Oh, also, there's the fucking dragon problem. Did I not mention the murderous dragon? Next, we have
I
the
not
nation
mention
of
the
Liyue,
dragon
an
that all the
extremely
furries
rich
spawn
and
out of?
powerful country to the east. They have recently come into conflict with Mondstadt due to the Luhua Pool massacre of 69, as well as
Am I
an
gonna get
aggressive
spoilers
foreign
for this?
policy involving a 9-dashed
I'm not this
line
far
in
into
the
the
Sea
game,
of
I don't think.
Clouds, headed by the Tian Chuan Ningguang of the Liyue Qixing. Those are all real names. Liyue exhibits an unprecedented
Of
level
the-
of prosperity
Oh, God,
and
if
control.
I tried to
looking
make that
happily
joke,
under
I'll
the
get
watchful
demonetized.
eye of the rock god, who periodically disguises himself to ensure that the populace is behaving well and upholding their state contracts, just in case. Now, China, I know you're new to making video games, yet in my country, we have a long history of shooting people. But who lives in Liyue and who lives in Where Is In? The answer is unfortunate. Populating this extensive world will be several factions of enemies with subgroups, elemental specializations, and fucking bullshit. The enemy variety of this game paints a picture of a post-apocalyptic nightmare world where raving bands of savages constantly destroy everything, locking humanity in a perpetual state of warfare with armies of bandits and the midget people. One of these
Paimon, why are you in my screen like this? Please get out of my computer.
groups is the Hilichurls, an intelligent race capable of empathy and
For real
complex
though, like
thoughts,
when
which is
I first started playing this game, the Hilitrolls, I thought they were just cute civilians. That man, they did nothing wrong. We just rocked up on them with our magic and shit, and we just blew them away. Like, if anything, we're the bad guys in this scenario, surely. right? We're the bad guys in Genshin. We just committed genocide on a civilized and very, you know, they're just doing their thing, and we just murder them for no good reason.
Is why they must be destroyed. These guys make the Gombe chimpanzee war look like a fucking joke, and at no point does anyone in the entire game even give a shred of sympathy for the Hilichurls, except for Elon Musk. They can be big gorilla, small monkey, operate complex machinery, and have their own language. This makes it more fun to slaughter entire villages of them and steal their possessions with no consequences. In fact, you're encouraged to do it. Overall, I would rate them a genocide out of 10.
Like, if you ever consider the ethical side of video games, you sometimes realize that in most situations, you're pretty much the bad guy.
Cocktails. Are you sure we're the good guys? It's fortunate that, because they committed a crime, their lives are now forfeit. Abyss mages are very simple because they are one enemy with two reskins, who are also inhuman beings of the Dark Void, who have sworn vengeance upon humanity.
These pieces of garbage, every time I go up against these mother friggin' pieces of hot poop, of course, the shield they have is the element I don't have on me. And of course, it's anytime I try to do something that requires a time constraint. Yeah.
Itself. They also dwell almost entirely in fucking space. The Fatui of Snezhnaya are heavily armed diplomats seeking to dominate the world of Teyvat through subterfuge, and employing 9-foot-tall people with hammers is absolutely conducive.
Wait. Was I being conscripted into this? I'm a 9-foot-tall person, I just lack a hammer. Unless I'm counting hammering these nuts into your face. Whoa! Dab.
To this goal, I promise. They are unique among Teyvat because they serve the interests of the Tsaritsa of Snezhnaya, also known as the God of Ice. That's important.
I swear
because
whoever came up with these names
that they primarily use electricity and fire. I guess the Ice God is just fucking lazy. The Fatui are always up to no good, like stealing the Wind God's power or like a bank heist. They're also really hot, so I'm not stopping them. Finally, we have the local wildlife of Teyvat, which is 90% slimes and 10% these fuckers. I spent most of the fight waiting to do something.
Computer deactivate iguana.
That's really what the combat is all about. Sometimes it's like, holy fuck, that is a whale. And other times it's like, I think that bush just fucking... Really, no matter what happens, you're...
That fucking Star Trek meme. Thing is, though, this...
I think that bush just fucking... Really, no matter what happens, you're...
Where is it?
Holy...
This... Most of you aren't even old enough to know who this is. Most of you don't even... most of the people here are younger than this meme. And that upsets me. That really upsets me. I remember being a kid and watching this episode when it first came out. Like, fuck, I'm old.
Computer deactivate iguana.
That's really what the combat is all about. Just fucking... Really, no matter what happens, you're in for an experience. Let's find out if that's bad or worse. Shit Getting Intact is a game about
yeah,
where
you
to
deal with your
maximize their
copium.
Power, the player dynamically switches
Voyager
between
came
their
out in
DPS character and
2009,
everyone else. Rule number 3
no, wait, hold on,
of Genshin Impact.
When did Star Trek... Sorry, slight sidetrack. When did Star Trek Voyager release?
Which, depending on the enemy, can ruin the game. My wife Barbara could heal me, but in the process, must make everyone wet, which makes us a proverbial bathtub, which enemies will then catapult toasters into for massive damage. It's a fucking blast. You feel like a chemistry professor gone
so
using the elements to his advantage and then blowing himself up in the process. Unless
Only
your DPS
anime
uses
enjoyers,
rocks,
I
in which
swear.
case, you know, just watch, I guess. Everything is elements,
Do you ever-
and everyone
do you
has
ever-
an
do you ever
elemental
just, like-
skill and alignment. Unless you
Do you ever, as an anime enjoyer, just sit there and looking at something anime related and wonder, you know what? I get why people don't enjoy this kind of stuff. People who are lying to themselves that I'm definitely not a child at heart. You know what I'm saying?
You're the nature god who has no characters. Some are bad, and others are very bad, but many are completely game-changing, like how Beto's elemental skill adds a parry mechanic to the game, or how Ningguang invalidates all ranged enemies. The combat is definitely its strength.
Invalidated like my
in how bad you can
intelligence
craft
level.
your psychotic dog water alchemy, and hopefully create a moving ball of destruction strong enough to kill God. To extend this concept, every character uses one of 5 unique weapon classes, such as Mongolian, Controller Erosion, the Waiting Game, Egg Catapults, and the Speed Demon. So be careful with who you choose and what weapons that— oh wait, no, it's random, get fucked. Now, this would all be excellent gameplay if it didn't sometimes amount to
good
throwing
old
2
gacha
sponges
mechanic.
at each other. Enemies
Wouldn't be
scale
a
to your level, and
free-to-play
generally health is
gacha
not
game
hard to
without
come by.
some
So
level of
depending on your
unnecessary
investment, some
time
enemies could
gating.
take minutes to kill. This all amounts to making a classic video
Oh,
game
what's
build,
that?
the tank,
You feel weak?
entirely
It's taking you more than
useless.
2 seconds to kill
You
an
don't
enemy?
need a tank
Bet,
because
guess
you'll
you
be
better
switching to your
roll that
DPS
gacha
anyways,
wheel
whereas a
so you
tank
can get
against your
stronger.
will. Health is
Pay to
literally
win if
always
you
a
will.
shackle and a
Pay to
curse.
get
That is, of
stronger.
course, unless you're playing Barbara, whose healing scales only off of health, making her tankier than Tien. Let's go over an example party to give you some idea of the insanity that we're working with. It is optimal in most of my combat scenarios to cause forest.
Excuse me, Max0r. What part of "we're not here to play optimally" did you not understand? If your party doesn't consist of characters based off their titty size, you're not playing the game correctly. Like if you're not making your party based off of a tier list of which you'd bang from bang the most to bang the least, you're not doing it right. If you're trying to play optimally, then I'm sorry, but you're playing Genshin wrong.
Fires by throwing a spicy bear. Why? Well, it's obvious. My DPS Beto can parry anything, which includes the heat of fire. Or how about Ningguang, who spawns a wall inside of enemies like it's Gary's mod? We just do it to piss them off. Did I also mention you can invite your insane Discord stalker to play co-op with you? The combat is fully functional.
Hello, Max.
I made a mistake, and this isn't even going into the complicated system by which you customize artifacts, upgrade your weapon, and level your character's talents, because that's boring. It can be made especially boring when you have to pick 30 mushrooms to do it, but, you know, here we are.
One
That
day
leads
I
me
would like to
my
be able to
next
make a
point.
video
You're gonna have to explore
that
for
even
those
comes
mushrooms, and
like
that sounds
5%
bad, but
close
it's
to
actually
how
the best part.
Max0r
Get ready
makes
for
his
some
videos.
cross-country gaming, because we literally have a lot of ground to cover. So rule
This
number
editing
4
style
of
just
Genshin
right
Impact
up
is that
my
if you
alley. I
see
just wish I
something,
could
just go.
get my head around how he does it. I mean, I know it
You
takes him
probably
like what,
noticed at some point that
6
this game
weeks
looks
to edit a single
identical
video,
to Breath
just
of the
solid
Wild,
editing.
right down to the UI. This is an objectively correct assessment. It's just that the game doesn't give a shit, and neither should we. Breath of the Wild was so good that I wanted Breath of the Wild with more anime pussy, because god damn it, why did Nintendo make Zelda look like that? The amount of bandits and foreign soldiers in this game suddenly makes sense when you realize it has the geography of fucking Afghanistan. It's quite the vertical place, but you're given the tools to navigate it, like your feet or your sweat, and there is quite a bit to see. So, for an example, when I first installed the game, I didn't know that Liyue was in it. That's over half of the map. I was doing a quest that required a wild radish, so I naturally went hiking to find it and accidentally discovered the entirety of Mingdai.
Alright, listen, I'm not saying I'm an easy bitch to make giggle like a little bubbly boo-boo, but if you put a fucking Yoda meme into anything, I'm instantly gonna lose my fucking mind. I'm such a giggly bitch for those simplistic types of entertainment. God fucking damn it. I hate it! Why am I so easy to amuse?
Dynasty China, at which point I was wrongfully assaulted after being mistaken for opium. This is one of those games where you start finding chests in the wild and within 30 minutes are flying to a strange island with a man named Jeffrey. It's actually not that different to Skyrim, but this game makes Skyrim look like it's in Kansas. There is always something to do and always something to find. You would think that it would
That
get
is one
stale,
thing I'll
but they
give
just
Genshin
keep
credit for.
finding ways to
You're
turn on
never
my
gonna be
neurons.
bored if you
There is
play.
a
Even
puzzle.
free
This
play.
spans an entire region of the game where you have to climb 3 mountains.
The only
You
thing
can
you
spend
invest
an
is your
afternoon
time.
doing that and it's viable. There is no direction
Time
that
is
you
money,
can go that will
friend.
not help you in some tangible way, and that's what's important about exploration. It's not just pretty, it's optimal. You see the shit right here. This activates my fucking almonds. Exploring this game trains your neurons to fire at the most basic of incentives, like a lab chimp. But seriously, if you aren't yet considering the game, just how—
Chat, how does it feel? How does it feel to know that a game about anime waifus has trained you to react to stimuli like a good little girl or boy that you are? How does it feel to know that you are part of an S&M relationship and the master of your your master is a video game that activates your neurons in just the right way to make you do as it pleases. Yeah, thanks for that follow,
Have fun exploring it, stop and smell the flowers, and accidentally find China over a vegetable. I found it eventually. It took 3 hours. Now, if the review had ended here, this would be a definite recommend because the game is free. It costs $0. It cannot yank your bank. Not that I would know, but I must warn you that there are some serious drawbacks
yanking my
besides
bank?
the fucking
Oh,
Chinese
gosh.
surveillance state that you have to install. So it's time to give you the final tools and rules that you need to enjoy this game. Regula numerus quinque of Genshin Impact is just, please God, use the resin every day. So to
I'm sorry, Max. I couldn't quite hear you over the fact that I wasn't using my resin. Honestly, it took me about 20 hours of gameplay to realize that I needed to use my resin, and every time I didn't do it, my fucking chat got so upset at me.
explain that, you have to understand that this game works by mostly giving you what you want when you seek it out.
Unless it's crit damage.
So you don't end up mindlessly slogging for 10 hours a day for a single goddamn Warframe chassis. But there is a catch. When it comes to grinding, there is a clever way to make sure that you can't trivialize the entire game, which is that the game just stops you. You expend resin when you kill a boss, want money, want XP, want artifacts, want to live, want to see my daughter again, pretty much anything. And if you have no resin, well, better wait. God will collect his existence tax, and you will fucking
don't
pay,
use
even if
your
you live in
resin?
Mondstadt.
Oh my
The
God,
IRS is the
Makari, you're
eternal
so
fixture
fucking
of the
cringe.
universe.
Yeah, I
And
know,
although
I
it's
know, I
nice
get
to
it.
have fair
But I'm a
guarantees for
VTuber, so
artifacts,
naturally
it
I'm
has the
cringe.
unique side effect of stopping the game
I
from
was
being played.
born to the
You get
cringe,
160 a day,
raised
and for
upon it.
reference, you spend 40 for boss loot, so good luck. And if you thought that was bad, get ready
Ooh,
for
that's a
Rule
big boy.
6, which is, yeah, you gotta do the daily quests. We Genshin players are always hard at work on
Hey,
the
it's a
daily
Warframe
dopamine farms,
meme!
putting in that grind so that we can have a 4-star object every 20 days. It really makes a man wonder why we bothered with making
Where's the
murder
meat? In your
illegal
pants.
in the first place. Thank
In
you,
my
Kane.
pants.
This game can give you a lot if you decide to commit yourself
Gotta
to
go
it.
on a
But
journey
if
to
you
get
don't,
to
you
me.
will be scraping for crack crystals in a back alley. Maybe make a YouTube video. That alone is probably enough to discourage most people. I thought I was going to be one of those people until I realized that
You
I
realize
liked the game.
you realize that
Stockholm
all of
Syndrome
I mean
is
these
actually cool.
these
And
videos
for our
are
final
really
rule,
hilarious
don't
until you
wanna play
realize
with
that
English
all of
voices.
these Max0r
Set it to
videos that he
literally
makes
any
about
other
Genshin
language
Impact
except
is just
English.
him
Now,
trying
the
to
voice work
apply to
isn't
become a voice
horrendous,
actor
but,
in the game.
It doesn't sound like the dialogue
One
was actually
day,
written
Max0r
for
will have his
English, and
voice
the
in
translation
Genshin.
is fucking hilarious.
The wolves frighten him so badly that he's paralyzed with fear.
We've looked everywhere and haven't seen anything.
So do what I do and play in Japanese, then switch the game to Chinese whenever you're in Liyue for maximal immersion.
感受到盐的元素力了吗？
Dear Mr. Sheep, please send missiles to liberate my country from the yoke of capitalism. Now that you're armed with what you need, should you play the game? Only if you have self-control. It's not worth it to spend money on the game. I'm serious, and that's why you should give
And
me your
thankfully,
money
I've
so I
not
can
spent
spend it
any of my own
responsibly.
money on the
Remember,
game.
the game is free,
I
and
have
so is the
Twitch
porn.
Sims.
I would like to thank the kind Chinese billionaires and international arms dealers of the Max0r Patreon for funding my hopeless and deadly addictions. If you would like to help fund the videos corrupting America's youth in the name of Naxalite
Max0r,
Maoism, you can head to
we
the
love you,
description
baby.
to learn more.
Watching you is like sensory overload in a video. Absolutely fantastic. God damn it. I feel like I need to play Genshin today. Oh boy. Oh boy. God, imagine being a weeb though. Who'd enjoy a weeb game? Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me, right, Smile?